Hello. I'm going to talk about the truth about starseeds and insights from my past life on planet Ceres. For over 20 years, I've done out-of-body travel to heaven to make contact with divine spirit, the pure Vardan sound current, which flows in shimmering waves of white light and pure sound that emanates from God. Whether you believe in the extraordinary miracles of religions and spirituality or not, or you believe in past lives or not, the only point of sharing this past life is to reveal how spirituality without God, or spirituality without out-of-body travel to return to God, is like a box with gorgeous wrapping paper. It's dazzling, but inside it's an empty shell. If we're filled with God's consciousness, we can become co-workers with God to another level. I've been to these worlds of pure spirit many times, and I have faith that many listening here will make the journey too. On this occasion, I traveled to the God plane. God's light and sound flowed through my higher self with telepathic impressions. Now is a time for awakening to what soul has been waiting for perhaps millions of years, to return to your true home. Your true home is not the dazzling lower heavens, nor is your home returning to beautiful planets. Your true home is returning to God itself. This is only possible by learning out-of-body travel. I next saw myself in a previous life, millions of years ago, on a distant planet known as Ceres. The Ceres were a very tall race, well over 15 feet in height. They were said to be one of the parenting races of the ancient Lemurians and Atlanteans. This Golden Age planet had 2 suns, and pristine waterfalls and forests radiant with vibrancy. The Ceres had qualities that many consider spiritually advanced. They had superhuman powers, manifested thought, could see past lives and use clairaudience, inner hearing, clairvoyance, inner seeing, clairempaths, empaths, and clairsentience. Their mode to communicate was telepathically with all life. Because of their universally loving nature, a reciprocal loving energy flowed out, sustaining all life to flourish like a utopia. This circular flow returned to them to have radiant bodies with a lifespan of several thousand years. Their powers of intellect were advanced, very advanced. A small child on Ceres had an intellect far beyond the most gifted professor on Earth. And all religions on Ceres believed in divine love, reincarnation, and awareness of spiritual laws. The beauties and utopic miracles that surrounded them tended to distract most on Ceres from wanting to pursue a whole deeper level of spiritual freedom. A quantum leap many times is not possible unless a being truly realizes that he has one to make. Ga had white hair and was several thousand years old. In that lifetime, Ga did not practice any of the assigned religions, as he was the living Vardan master of the Ceres, whose job it was to educate souls to travel through the pure, positive God worlds to return to God. In this lifetime, Ga Shaizar had found it frustrating how individuals became fixated at one level of heaven with a sort of golden age form of apathy. The serious people had profound golden age spiritual advancements in technology to travel the universes. But simultaneously, they were not aware that they were still prisoners of the heavens of reincarnation. Ga Shaizar felt that one of the greatest stumbling blocks among the series, or the advanced soul, was that most had a very strong sense of spiritual advancement, and in that way, other doors became closed. Then, when the next door was presented by Divine Spirit itself, the soul in its confidence does not step through. On Sirius, the individuals who often stepped through were called seekers, because they longed for God so strongly and therefore took up divine training to learn out-of-body travel to return home. In this lifetime, my husband Alan was a close friend. He was, at that time, 800 years old, and he had a youthful brown hair. In Earth years, that would be 24 years old. On one occasion, Ga Shaizar coordinated a class. Those who attended were serious students of VARDANKAR, the ancient science of out-of-body Tuza travel. Many on Sirius did not attend these events as they enjoyed practicing nature spirit religions, such as communicating with the spirit of trees, spirits of the air, or the Great Spirit. In this class composed entirely of God seekers, everyone listened as beautiful, otherworldly sounds and flute filled the air. There were huge soft curtains with beautiful patterns. The experience sort of felt like being by the ocean, because the air was electric, like the air was enlivening and had a very high vibration feeling that filled the entire room. On a large podium rested an enormous Cherokee Hure, which is a spiritual book, that spanned roughly 3 feet long and 2 feet wide, covered with leather and gold leaf lining the pages. These were large because the people themselves were large. The tremendous book was extremely thick since people in golden ages lived for several thousand years, and therefore we had a lot of time to write. Ga Shaizar opened the chariot, which is the book of the Vardan masters, and began to speak telepathically. Quote, "It is important to listen really carefully, minutely, to the sound current, and letting yourself vibrate like a rocking, like being on a lake, where waves are going up and down, and you are flowing with it rather than against it. The wave goes up and down. When you don't have patience, you interrupt the cycle and create problems like you are fighting spirit. The answer is to let go and stop fighting, going back to the wave of the natural rhythm of the sound. Patience is very important in flowing with and riding on the light and sound current. There is the importance of being in harmony with it, not fighting it, which is being in disharmony with it. However, this by itself doesn't bring you to spiritual freedom. You have to follow the spiritual traveler's instructions and become active, otherwise you stagnate at a particular vibratory level. So this path allows you to shift with the help of the master, that you are not stuck at a particular vibration. You avoid getting trapped and can move towards God realization. The natural order of the negative power or cow world is to get you stuck, trapped at a particular vibration for thousands of years. So harmony by itself is not necessarily a good thing, because it can become a trap. But when you combine harmony with out-of-body travel, you have a very powerful combination, because you are able to dwell in any of these states of consciousness whenever you want. And you have full control of where you go and how long you remain there, because you are in balance. And balance comes from detachment and patience and harmony. Your mind has to be in harmony in order to ride the sound and light. While Ga-Shezha discussed this, he soon referred to a large chart of the God worlds, which we all used in discussion of our journeys and out-of-body travel to various planes of God. This chart is a map of the heavens. It was God's wish to see that all his students returned to God. The point of experiencing such an understanding is to become motivated to feel like I'm tired and old in spirit, and I've lived for countless lives and I want to move on. And I want to move on, to graduate from all these dimensions of reincarnation. God wants us to return to it. For countless lives, we learn the spiritual ABCs of cosmic wisdom, clairvoyance, clairaudience, telepathy, spiritual healing, astral projection, akashic record reading, and in particular, cosmic consciousness, a mystical state of all-encompassing universal awareness of the cosmic worlds, universal love, and the divine plan within the physical, astral, and mental planes. Reaching cosmic consciousness is a giant step in spiritual evolution from spiritual childhood to becoming a more godly being. Yet, when many reach cosmic consciousness, they go no further. A little-known understanding is that the lower heavens and their corresponding lower bodies have little to do with perfection of the soul, on the soul level. This is because we are not our lower bodies, the physical body, astral body, mental body, etheric body, or our past lives, nor any of their powers. A little-known understanding is lower bodies have little to do with the perfection of soul. On the soul level, God world. Their sound in this world can be intensely bright when we stand and seek only to be God's co-worker. There is only one living Vardan master at a time on the planet, but many masters enter into the pure, positive God worlds of incredible vast stretch of pure radiant spirit, which bring one to become an awakened co-worker with God. All souls, no matter how flawed they think they are, have this destiny. Learning our destiny opens doors soul never knew existed, as the brave seekers on Ceres did, bringing soul home to Hugh-Ray, God. We all have had or will have such past lives of apparent advancement, mentally and on other levels, but eventually we realize that we are not our lower bodies, and we are not our past lives. None of this frees us. We will all eventually become masters and co-workers with God when we stop belittling others and belittling ourselves and realize God is. Some people see themselves as old souls that are different and better than others, but this can be an illusion. We can learn that nearly all souls, advanced and so on, go back and forth between extremes of young and old, good and evil, rich and poor, smart and stupid, evolved and unevolved, king and peasant, drunkard and scholar, every imaginable role. Even if we spend 100,000 years or more in one state of utopia on a golden age planet or lower world heaven, there is an illusion of permanency in these lower heavens, when in reality the only permanency is when we bring our consciousness to the pure positive God worlds and reach the state of self and God realization. All souls are special, and all souls are great. We are taught to believe that we aren't good enough or that others aren't good enough. This idea is from the negative. You are a great soul who perhaps has forgotten who you are. As I said before, God will hand soul its answers on a silver platter, and soul in its confidence looks away. By learning out-of-body Tuza travel, we can return to God. This talk contains excerpts from our book, The Hure Galactica. Thank you for listening to the talk, Truth About Starseeds. May the blessings be